Hello and welcome to Laura's View and Tarot 2. I am so glad you're here. Today's date is Wednesday, August 3rd, 2022. And tonight I want to talk about something that happened last week, but there's still chatter about it. On the 26th of last week, or last month, which was last week, so Tuesday of last week, Mr. T made his first trip to Washington, D.C. since moving to Florida. And I got to tell you, I was a little fearful. I knew there's shenanigans. That's part of the corporate United States, which, although it's defunct, still has shenanigans galore going on within that district's borders. So I was a little worried about him. But he made it in and out safely. And one of the persistent things I'm reading on alt media is that while he was there, and he wasn't just speaking this summit, oops, wrong one, hang on, the America First Agenda Summit, that while he was there, he also signed some legislation. And that was about the restored U.S. Republic. Now, again, alt media has talked a little bit about this. They're keeping it very hush-hush. Which states have jumped on the bandwagon, which haven't. It's pretty easy to know if you're in a red state that, you know, your governor was probably thumbs up on it. If you're in a blue state, you might be a little bit worried. And I hear that Hawaii is opting to be an independent territory when all this shakes out and gets public. So good for Hawaii. All right. But still, welcome visitors with open arms, just like we do up here in Alaska, because this is often a bucket list trip for people, you know, to see Alaska. Although we do kind of want to spend your money, go home. And I'll bet people in Hawaii kind of feel the same way. Anyway, if you sign that legislation, I want to ask the cards about that and if there's other information to know. And I do want to set your mind at ease, even though I mentioned that to my knowledge, right now, not every one of the other 49 current states is on board with having a restored U.S. Republic. But those that aren't are going to have a chance once their corrupt leadership, you know, or compromised leadership. And my heart goes out to compromise situations because it's pretty easy to end up in one. Anyway, so we may be 49 at the end of everything, but right now, let's just ask the cards. Was part of 45's trip to Washington, D.C. to sign in that legislation about the restored U.S. Republic? And what else does the universe want us to know about that legislation? Okay, now we can't get anything real specific. Just so you know, tarot cards don't do when things will. So I'm not going to ask when will we see it happen. It's not going to give me a date. Sometimes you can get some percentages or look at a window. I just want to ask, is the chatter that there was some legislation signed dealing with the restored U.S. Republic true? And is there other information that the universe would want us to be aware of at this time? So let's see what the cards have to say. Our first card is the Knight of Pentacles. 6 of Swords. 10 of Swords. 9 of Wands. Page of Cups. Strength. 7 of Cups. Okay, to recap, the question was, is the chatter true that while Mr. T was in Washington, D.C., he signed some legislation dealing with the restored U.S. Republic? And The situation is indicated by the Knight of Pentacles, which is a card of stability and progress. So I think right away we're getting a yes on that. And that's bolstered by the fact that what clarifies, we jump over here to the clarifying about the situation, is the Six of Swords. Now that card is always about moving out of troubled water. And certainly the bankrupt US corporation is that troubled water. And we're getting a nod from the universe that we are moving away from that troubled water. And that's also backed up by the fact that the recent past card, we have the 10 of Swords. Remember, swords are written in spoken words, and a 10 means the end of something. So I believe that legislation was signed. It's not, for whatever reason at this point, public and in the mainstream, but when it is, remember, you heard it here from me, okay? That the 10 indicates the end of something. It's a time of transformation. Let's see what kind of transformation we can look forward to. Now we have the 9 of Wands here. Now that means that there's still, part of the reason it's not public is there is still some progress to be made in getting the public ready for such a big change. Sleepers are in for some big shocks. Overdue for them, maybe, but that's why those of us who are awake, we're going to help them through it. Now, this card is also really cool because even though he's been battling, he's still on his feet. Okay? He's not walking away in defeat. He's still on his feet. So, and he's got a very determined look on his face, like, if we got to go more, we'll do more. And don't we often feel like that? So, yeah. So there's some ways to go before we can get to public disclosures about this big event. And I hope it happens sooner, not later. I keep saying that. Now we're giving a little reassurance that it will. Page of Cups is one of, okay, cups are emotion cards. And the page usually indicates a pleasant surprise. It's also one of connection and guidance. So when the news is out, we're going to be able to connect the dots well, set the timeline out. They are going to have the information ready, small bites if that's what people need to digest it. But we're in for a nice surprise, and that nice surprise is not going to happen with a lot of preface and fanfare. So one of the reasons to wake up in the morning and go, well, I wonder if today is the day. And then here's another beautiful card on the other side of it. A little more information clarifying is the Strength card. So when it does, that nice surprise comes out, it's going to be done from a position of very loving strength. Now look at the Strength card. She's got infinity at the top there. So we're making a change that is going to be a lasting change and a beautiful change, okay? In the meantime now, this is always a less important clarifier and advice. And it's kind of my smoke and mirrors card. It reminds us that the outgoing evil is still going to be trying some deceptive, some false reporting, some rumors, what have you. So I love when people use their discernment when they're skeptical about information. You shouldn't be blindly accepting of anybody's word or anything you hear, ever, ever. If it resonates with you, accept it. Be willing to change it if it ends up being something wrong. But use your skills. Now, I want to do a couple more cards and see if there's a little more information, and then I want to chat with you. And I will have an afterword tonight that has nothing to do with this read. So if you want to hang around for it, you can, but I'll tell you when I get there, okay? All right. So again, I'm glad I kept pulling. The King of Swords, that's that and the Emperor are almost always my Mr. T cards, okay? And yeah, on this card again, just like here, there's some battling going on. There's still some strife. There's some things to get settled. Nothing major, but it is persistent and needs to be addressed before we finish moving out of troubled water and into that time of gifts, prosperity, and strength that lasts and lasts. That's it for this video. Thank you so much for joining me. If you enjoyed the video and you'd like to subscribe, please do so. If I could make a little request, if you could watch me on YouTube, as long as my channel's up there, I'd appreciate it. A little more ad revenue there. I checked to see what I've made this year on Rumble, and I'm making about 1 penny a video on Rumble. I mean, total 1 penny. So I've made $1.03 this year on Rumble. I thought it was hilarious. Anyway, so if you're not opposed to YouTube as a viewing media, watch me over there. I'd sure appreciate it. Oh, okay. So if you didn't want to stay around for the afterward, good night. I send you my best, and I thank you for spending some of your precious time with me. Now for the afterward. I've lost count of the times in comments, because I do try to interact with people in the comments for my videos, and I'm trying to help us have a community, a supportive community of one another. So frequent commenters kind of get to know one another, and oh, you're from Germany, so am I. Oh, you're from Australia, so am I. Or oh, my daughter is not awake either. Oh, my son is, but that kind of conversation. And in those comments, I have time and again instructed people on this particular spread, which is called a Kachina knife spread. And I've had people ask me to do tarot lessons. So here's the announcement. I'm going to prepare 2 or 3 videos that will be very basic introductory tarot reading. I'm not going to get into higher level tarot reading, extended options, things like that, because there are some really good people out there that do offer instruction in tarot. And I don't want to step on their toes. I also do feel like that the basic fare that I provide for you needs to be without charge. I am not a PAY patriot, and that even extends into the tarot realm. So I will be putting up 2 or 3 introductory tarot reading, or tarot 101 videos, and as long as my YouTube channel's up, they'll be available to you. If it ever goes down, I'll also put them on Rumble, so you can find them there. And just basic and introductory. Don't ask me to go into further depth and do an intermediate course, an advanced one, because there are some really fabulous people that count on tarot for their income and for their livelihood. And I was blessed that I earned a pension, so I can do it for the love of it. And I do feel like tarot's going mainstream. It hasn't got the associations that structures, Hierophant type people wanted us to believe they had. And so I'm willing to help you get an introduction to it if you've been curious and are interested in learning a little more about tarot. And then, like I said, if you want to go beyond the basics that I will show you, find a good teacher. And I know a couple that this is called Right Side Up card reading that I do. And I know a couple of other people that do it this way, and it's the one I advocate, because I do believe what we put out in the world we get back. And these are the way to read the cards the most positively that there is by reading them right side up. And we'll talk about what happens if one isn't, okay? That'll be part of the lessons. So that'll be coming up. I'll work on that over the next few days, getting those up. And that way, you can all refer people that come in and haven't read comments, or they're new and ask questions about tarot reading. You can send them over to the instructional videos I'll have up about that. Okay. Okay, now it really is it for tonight. So thank you so much. Have a beautiful evening, and I love all of you, and I just send you love and light and all sorts of blessings. And I know we have to be patient. Things don't roll out as fast as we want. We're like little kids waiting for Christmas, but you know what? It's going to happen. It's going to happen, and we're part of making it happen. So hang in there, folks. Send you my love. Bye.